If you invite me to speak to Baz Luhrmann's Mercutio, I will be there every time. Good morning, Harold. It's always a pleasure to speak to the greatest Mercutio of all time. Hi, I'm LadyJenevia, and on my channel, I like to talk about entertainment media. I was invited by the publicity team handling the MGM Plus series From to participate in a virtual roundtable interview with the show's headlining star, Harold Perrineau. A roundtable involves sharing footage. It is non-exclusive material among the participating outlets. If you compare it to the press rooms that happen at Comic-Con when you get placed on a round table, every outlet filming that session will upload the same interviews to their respective platforms. Ultimately, I decided that the best way to share my coverage would be to give a quick introduction to From for any viewers of mine that watch my other reviews but are not yet familiar with this series. Following that, I will share some interview footage from my session with Harold Perrineau, and then finally I will share some of my review feedback of From Season 3. At the time of recording this video, I have seen episodes 1 through 5, so let's begin. From is a science fiction horror series that focuses on a group of people trapped in a strange, mysterious, small town. Once those people become trapped in the town, they are terrorized by frightening monsters who only come out to try to hunt them at night. At the time of our introduction to the town, there are objects, talismans, that you can put up in an enclosed space, such as a house or a car, that for some unknown reason are effective in keeping the creatures from being able to enter that space. I first learned about From in the lead up to the release of season 2 when I was emailed an invitation to participate in the show's press junket. I had never heard of the series before that, but when I saw Harold Perrineau's name in the email, I went, oh, yeah. Whatever this is, I will do it if it means getting to have a couple of minutes with Baz Luhrmann's Mercutio. In the lead up to season 3, awareness of the show and the fandom has grown significantly.
People really are searching it out now, and people are looking for it. And I still don't fully feel it all yet, and I know that a lot of people in my cast don't fully feel it all yet, but I'm thinking that we're gonna feel it a lot more in this third season. This third season is really dark, and people seem to like that kind of stuff. I don't know, I'm really happy about it because listen, if I'm being really honest, I think we are working really hard, man. I think, like, not that people don't work hard in other shows, but I think we're working really hard, and I think we have a product that's really worthy of your entertainment time. Do you know what I mean? And so also that we get to do it with 10 weeks with the audience. Like, you know what I mean? I love that. I love that we get to spread it out for like 10 weeks and talk about it and like think about it and like have theories about it. And so I'm really excited and yeah, I'm really hopeful that it makes the conversation bigger. I'm hoping that it keeps going.
I do believe that the show being one of very few to commit to a weekly release and not make the audience wait 2 years for a new season gives it a massive advantage. The technical merits of the show have to also be at a certain level of quality to get the audience invested in the characters and the story. But at the same time, the modern television market has become increasingly egregious, especially for streaming platforms. Too many of their original series take 2 years or longer to release a new season, and on top of that, prematurely cancel new shows that have highly emotionally invested audiences. From is a prime example of how important it is to let a show find its footing and grow its audience and overall momentum over time. From having a strong horror concept that facilitates memorable, shocking, violent encounters, and also a strong element of mystery that facilitates theorizing. These are two ingredients that are strong conversation starters which help to create a fan community and also compel that audience to tell other people about the show and encourage them to watch. In this latest press cycle for From Season 3, as I have already said, I was invited to participate in a virtual roundtable with the show's headlining talent, Harold Perrineau, who once again had great energy and was highly engaged with all of the reporters present and the various questions that were asked.
Hi everybody, what's up?
Hi.
Okay, let's.
Now that Harold has had 3 seasons of playing what amounts to a sheriff in an extremely dangerous town, it begs the question of what one would learn from playing the truth of that character for this long.
That I'm really, really scared of monsters, and I don't like the 50s. Like the milkman thing is really, it's not my thing, man. It's not my bag. No, I tell you, one of the things that I really feel good about is that my protect mechanism that works in my Harold everyday life, that it's come to some use that doesn't frustrate my daughters. Like like it's really there, and I get to use it all as Boyd Stevens, and then my kids aren't like rolling their eyes at me because it's like, what's the matter with you? And so like I've learned that I actually have some use for it, and while it sounds like I'm joking, I'm really, really serious about that. I annoy them a lot, and so I get to use all that stuff that I have, that pent up anxiety there, and I get to really use it on screen, and I can tell by the way the audience responds that it's really coming off as real, and so that's what I've learned. I have a place for all that stuff.
One of the observable shifts in the dynamic of the townsfolk versus the monsters is that the monsters are now being more strategic in their violence. It's no longer just a general open-ended attack on anyone and everyone. In particular, the monsters are honing in on Boyd specifically as someone they want to mess with. If Boyd is now being targeted, will that extra pressure make him lose his humanity? Is the only way to beat these monsters to become monstrous like them?
I think it's a question that I have about Boyd as well. Can he maintain his humanity? And it's not even so much against the monsters as much as it is trying to find a really great way to answer it, about his own beliefs, about his beliefs on who he has to protect. And like, then is he now the monster in everybody else's eyes? Like, he's got to make some really hard choices that make us question his humanity. And it's not so much the monsters that are making him answer that question.
Considering Boyd's position in the town and the close relationships he has with other people in the town, such as his son Ellis, Kenny, and Donna, it's inevitable that this newfound aggression from the monsters would impact those interpersonal relationships he has with others.
Because the town is really like picking on him. It's like a bully. They're just like picking on him, like this whole thing. And I think playing the character, it felt like at any time he could just explode in the middle of the street, just like a pile of blood, like pow, it's over. And so it's made his connection with one character in particular really explosive, but with some of the other characters, like it's edgy. He's like, don't get in my way because I'm trying to get you home. Like, don't make me beat you up to make you safe. Like, it's a really weird place for him to be, but I think he's got no choice. Like I said, the town is literally like singling him out and picking on him, and it's a lot to deal with when you're trying to get everybody home to safety, right? And so, yeah, it's made his relationship with some of the other characters really, really interesting, and he has some compassion for other characters, but some he has zero. With
these monsters trying to break Boyd, it's natural to wonder whether or not they can break Boyd. If not the monsters, what exactly would it take to break Boyd Stevens?
This might sound stupid for you guys, but as like an actor, like I plant things in my brain just from wherever I get the information, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine who had been in a lot of military activity around the world, and he said every time they had to go into battle, as it were, that the mindset was, this battle isn't over until you're all dead or we're all dead. And so I implanted that into the way that I think about Boyd. So what will break him? If he's dead. Because he won't. He won't. He can't. There's no stopping. So either you kill him or he kills you. And that's how I see it. That's what I've implanted in my mind. It's weird to say this in this. We're supposed to be having fun, but that's what I've implanted into the character, because I think that's what he needs. And I think if you learn that in the military, I don't think that goes away. I think that stays who you are through your life.
What's interesting for me in trying to review season 3 and offer my feedback is that I can't fully convey whether or not the story develops or concludes its seasonal arc in a way that's satisfactory for the time being until hopefully a 4th season. That feeling of being stuck in the middle of something is actually similar to Boyd's journey across seasons 1 through 3.
When Boyd got there, he was definitely a seasoned military man, and he thought that was going to be enough to get him through. And it turns out that he was brand new in this situation, because he doesn't have any idea what's happening. And so right now I feel like we're really in the middle, and in the middle can be really frustrating because it's you know where you came from, but especially in this kind of game, you just can't see the path out. You know there's one, it's there, but it's so, like, you are so clouded with all the stuff that's there. You can't, you know it's there. You know that you're gonna hit it, and you just have to keep like taking the next little step. But so I would say, like, right now, he's just in the middle of it. The path isn't there. But he's gonna find it. Or like I said, he's gonna die trying. You're gonna have to kill him to stop him from trying, but he's gonna find it. But he that's really interesting to go from season to not to like back in the middle. So that's what I think is the answer to that question.
But now is when we get to reach my turn from the virtual roundtable. Good morning, Harold. It's always a pleasure to speak to the greatest Mercutio of all time, and I tried to dress festively as if Catherine Martin herself put this on my
Well, Miss
body.
LadyJenevia, that was nice. I see what you did there. I loved it. It's a great beginning.
I do want to interject a point of clarification here. Catherine Martin has done the costumes for most of Baz Luhrmann's films, but on Romeo and Juliet, she did the production design, while the costume designer was Kim Barrett. However, when I was getting ready, I was asking myself, how would Catherine Martin dress me so that I match the aesthetic of a dazzling Baz Luhrmann production? And that was what made me land on this shirt. I just want to make sure that I still give credit, though, to Kim Barrett, because she did phenomenal work on Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. One of the interesting patterns I observed in this first half of season 3 is different people in the town coming to Boyd and challenging him on his decisions about the best way to survive in the town. And he always counters with a really well-argued rebuttal. Do you believe that Boyd keeps being right because of an intrinsic quality that he has as a person, or because his role as a leader brings him to those decisions?
The biggest question is he right? Right? He believes he's right, but is he right is what we're going to keep trying to find out. And I think it's his qualities, it's his experience, like we were just talking about, his experience in being in places that are rife with just danger. And that he does feel that he is the only one who's been in those situations. And so you should trust him more than you should trust your not having been in this stuff. There's one character in particular that I get into this fight with all the time. I'm like, sure, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you just don't know what you're talking about. So I think it's his leadership qualities that keeps bringing him back to, like, try it this way, try it this way, try it this way. And then sometimes he is right, but I'm not sure that he's always right. And that's what I think makes him an interesting character to play.
Thank you so much, Harold. And it's a really intense first half to the season, so I can't even imagine what's coming in the back half.
Yeah, I know. After that second episode, I turned my computer off. I was like, that's enough. Like, I needed a break. And I read it. So when I saw it, I was just like, I need a break, guys. So thank you. And thank you for the comment about Mercutio. That was really kind. That's kind.
Now I want to add a few other points of feedback that I have about From Season 3, or at the very least this first half, since I've only seen press screeners of episodes 1 through 5. Over the course of the show's run, the ensemble has increasingly expanded to such an extent that I have felt for a while now that it's become too large given the number of episodes per season, and that I personally would prefer that they downsize by a couple of people. In Season 3, we are now seemingly adding 2 more characters into the mix, and only one of those characters is someone that I think offers anything interesting to the story and how they can intermingle with other characters we already know and are attached to. Having said that though, I have been fairly impressed by the way that the show this season has not forgotten about anyone. They've checked in with more or less every single character in the ensemble and had something interesting or intriguing play out in their storylines. Conversely, there are some characters whose storylines feel less compelling, and if the monsters were to take out a few more of those characters, the screen time that would have gone to those people would now be freed up to better develop and explore the characters whose storylines captivate me more than the others. I'm not going to be overly specific about which characters I find less compelling because I've only seen the first half, and maybe some of those characters will win me back over in the latter half of the season. One other talking point I want to touch on is the show's horror and tone. Up until this point, I think the show has been very effective in being scary and having real stakes, but I'm going to be honest about the fact that I did find myself struggling a bit with watching this first half of the season because of what happens in episode 1. And this is the reason why I waited to publish this interview and my review coverage until after episode 1 was released to the audience. So, please click away now if you do not want plot spoilers for season 3, episode 1, because I'm going to spoil a very big thing that happens in that episode in 3, 2, 1. The monsters trap Boyd and Tian-Chen in a barn, and then they force Boyd to watch while they violently end her. On the one hand, I understand the argument that this is part of escalating the story's dramatic stakes, a shift in the way the monsters operate, so this can force Boyd and the other townspeople to try to form a new strategy of how to defeat the monsters, figure out the mystery of the town, escape, and secure their freedom permanently. However, this doesn't change the fact that I really struggled with getting through this. I watch horror films at the cinema, and I actually just watched Terrifier 2 recently in preparation for Terrifier 3, so I was trying to unpack why it was that Tian-Chen's death bothered me more than a lot of these horror films that I choose to watch, and ultimately I think the difference in medium is at least partially responsible for this. From is a television series where you spend much longer with these characters and you get to know them more than you do a lot of the main characters that meet their end in horror films. Kenny's family story already opened with him violently losing his father to the monsters, and for them to do that to him again, it just felt emotionally violating in a different way. I don't think it helps either that these are the only East Asian characters in the ensemble, so I can't help but ask the question, really, was there no one else to get rid of? There are 4 people in the Matthews family, and none of them have gotten got by the monsters. Jim is right there. Sorry. So many other people have lost someone in the town. Victor lost his family, Sarah lost her brother, Kenny lost his father, and now his mother too, but the Matthews family stays untouched. I'm not sure how you want me to feel about that. But again, I've still half a season left, so who knows what sort of death and mayhem might be unleashed in that latter half of the season. One other significant question I have about From Season 3 with watching this first half has to do with the mystery in the narrative. There are still little to no answers about what the town and monsters are, how people are chosen to end up there. Is it magic of the earth, magic of a demonic nature, magic of a ghostly nature? Is it something more science fiction? Is it aliens? All we have right now are questions. And the show spends a lot of time on characters simply trying to survive, but with the few instances we've had where characters are taking real steps of making a plan, going exploring, doing something investigative to try to find out what's really going on, and if there is a way to escape the town, it keeps not working out for them. And I don't feel as though the audience has made much progress to getting real answers, and this is a cause of concern for me. The mystery of the narrative is very effective, it's compelling, I'm invested, and I still want to know what the reveal is going to be. However, I can't help but be concerned, given how abysmal the state of modern television is. So many series are being prematurely canceled that I now barely watch television. I focus first and foremost on films, because whether a film ends up being good or bad, it's almost always a contained, complete story that stands on its own. With From, if the show were to end without viewers being able to get answers to those questions, how are those viewers supposed to feel about all that investment they put into the story and these characters? That's why, despite how strong the drama, mystery, and horror is, I would rather the show voluntarily wrap the show up sooner rather than later, just so that they can hopefully be able to end the story on their own terms and have it maintain its position as this beloved gem that fans will be able to enjoy as a complete work of art. Ultimately, I would say that the two characters I'm most interested in following with how they've been set up in the first half of season 3 are Boyd and Victor, and then followed right after them, I would say that Fatima and Tabitha are a close second. Will the second half of season 3 deliver a satisfying payoff for what's been established in the first half? I suppose we'll all have to find out together.
No matter what this place throws at us, we're gonna find our way home.